Welcome back to beautiful Dubai for the 2019 IPF World Open Powerlifting Championships, and very soon we will be kicking off the 74 kilo men, and this is heating up to be an exciting one. And of course, if you are joining us at home, we're going to take you through some of the rules today around some of the lifts, particularly the squat. One of the technical lifts or more technical lifts, there's a lot of things to think about and a lot of areas you can fail on a squat. I mean, in the gym, obviously, it seems pretty straightforward. You squat down and you stand back up again. But on a powerlifting platform, it's a little bit more technical in a few areas where things can go wrong and things you can fail on, even though it might not be a strength issue as well. I mean, in particular, often we're seeing lifters getting pulled up for depth. The hip crease has to come down below the top of the thigh or the top of the knee. One of the other areas, of course, is beating the start command. You have to wait for that squat command, so you have to be up in the upright position and wait for that squat command. Obviously, there's depth, which will be a red card. The bar has to continue in an upward movement, so the bar dips or drops in any way, you'll see the referees give a yellow card with the red light. Knees have to come back to the lock position at the finish of the lift. So you've got to start and finish in that lock position. And of course, that rack command, when you get to the top, you can't just rack the bar. You have to wait so you're in the finish position and you get the rack command as well. And we are just 1.5 minutes away from start here. Of course, great sponsorship from Alico, who continue to raise the bar. Does not get any better than that. And a fantastic rack they provided here for this event. Uplift, putting coaches and athletes together from all around the world, and of course Uplift have put this amazing competition together this week. And SBD, some of the greatest equipment on the planet. We wear it not because they're a sponsor, we wear it because we love it. You put one of those SBD belts on, you will probably never take it off again. And of course, we've got a great privilege this afternoon, joined by none other than Emma Goodwin, gold medalist in the deadlift yesterday, and she's managed to muster up the energy and the strength to come and sit in the commentary booth with us today. How are you feeling after your event yesterday?
Yeah, pretty good. It was fun to be out there. I'm enjoying being in Dubai, and it's a great competition.
And was it fun to stand up on that podium with a gold medal in the deadlift?
You know, it was fun to stand up on the podium at all. I did not expect to be on the gold, but I did, and the step's quite high.
It's quite high. Well, I did look at it and I thought if I ended up on the podium, I'd probably fall off it. I'd certainly break something stepping back down again. And the 74s, I mean, 74 kilo men, this is always a hotly contested weight class, particularly in the equipped lifting. Got any favourites for today?
Well, you're the Polish guy. He's got to be one of the greatest of all time, surely, arguably.
Well, without a doubt, really, isn't it? I think we're all here to see if he can reign supreme one more time, but he's not going to have it all his own way this time. But our first lifter on the platform, Ming He Lin, Chinese Taipei, looking to open at 125 kilograms. Nothing quite as bad as being the first lifter in a session. So, interesting he's opening at 125. I mean, as we know, this is the 74s. He's lifted 325 in the past. That could possibly bring in a little bit of an injury just before the competition. Open with a 125 and see how it feels. We'll see how he walks off. Certainly doesn't look like he's walking off tender.
No.
Might be just testing it out, seeing how previous injury feels.
To see what he puts in for the next.
Almazaki Mansoura from United Arab Emirates, 150. And I believe this is the first time I've had a UAE lifter at this event. And of course the sport growing dramatically, 123 nations in the IPF now. Another 7, I believe, on their way. Well, I blinked and missed that. And just noticed then he's no wraps.
Yeah, and of course lives in singlet.
Yeah, we do occasionally see as well people take that first lift without equipment. Yeah, it looks like Lin from Chinese Taipei He's carrying a bit of an injury, so he's put the squat on the board, probably saving a little bit of energy for the bench that may not affect his injury at all. Shahrazad from Kazakhstan, 180. Current world record, 370 kilograms. That's enough weight to make sure you don't get back up again.
Nearly our total.
I'm sure you could deadlift that, really.
Maybe, one day. Comfortable?
Yeah, it looks pretty smooth. Should be 3 white lights, and it is. So you competed yesterday. Choosing your opening lift is something we always talk about as openers, and being conservative and choosing the right. How do you go about choosing your opening lift?
I don't get a choice.
The coach.
You put in something and it changes anyway.
Yeah, you can put in whatever you like, and then the coach will put in the real lift.
Yeah.
Yi Heng Wu from Chinese Taipei looking for 195. Drops in nicely to get the bounce out of the bottom there. Probably a little bit deeper than he needs to be, but it was very convincing. When we talk about being convincing on depth, that was certainly convincing.
Certainly no questions there.
Hubert Konjak, Poland, 200 kilos. And of course, Poland, massive history in powerlifting and equipped powerlifting. Some absolute champions have come out of Poland for a very, very long time.
45 seconds. Lifting in wraps, but a singlet.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting choice. I mean, you do see occasionally they'll put their first lift on with no or limited equipment. I mean, it can be quite energy taxing, as you know. Probably a little slower than what you'd like for an opening lift.
I actually find a suit without knee wraps much easier than that way round.
Yeah, so an interesting choice to use the wraps and not the suit.
Get ready. Bar is loaded, 220 kilos.
Gambada from Mongolia looking at 220. He's lifted 270 in the past. That shouldn't be too much trouble for him. So first squat of the session, what's going through your mind when you walk out for that first lift?
I really enjoy squats. Actually, I just do what I do in training, try not to think about it too much.
That's a nice way to do it. And he gets that one on the board.
He looks like he doesn't put too much thought into it. Just strolls up there.
Just rolls up, strolls on out, hold my beer. I've got to go and squat.
Prepare Tom Chang and go Suzuki.
Andre Shaflika from Romania.
Bar is loaded, 230 kilos. Andre Choflika.
Looking for 230 to open his campaign. And it's going to be one heck of a battle for the medals in the 74s. And I think every session so far this week has been world records breaking.
Yeah.
Everyone having to push that extra bit to get into the medals.
And of course, as an athlete, it's more fun when you're pushed.
Yeah, that's right. It makes it more exciting. We see better results.
Comfortable.
And 3 white lights. And that's how you want an opening lift to be comfortable, especially that first lift of the session.
Tom Chang, Great Britain, go Suzuki, and Dorihiro Otani to get ready.
Tom Chang with a solid British name there from Great Britain.
He actually lives in Finland as well.
And not to be too confusing.
Yeah.
240 kilograms. very fast. He had plenty of speed coming up out of the hole. And 3 wide lights, had absolutely no problem with that opener.
He'll be pleased with that.
Dust off those first lift nerves. Go Suzuki, Japan, 265.
265 kilos, Go Suzuki, Japan.
So just shy of his personal best. Taking his time with his setup there. Got a good long minute. Some days it feels like an eternity. Some days it feels like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He certainly had no problems with the weight. I hope it was deep enough. You've got 1 red light, but 2 whites is enough. And Suzuki gets away with that one and gets it on the board. Naruhiro Otani from Japan now 300 kilograms. And there will be some big numbers on the board today. One of the biggest looking 74 kilo men I've seen. You've got plenty of tightness in those wraps.
On his opener.
Yeah, usually we see the wraps get a little bit tighter as the lifts go on. And the walks get a little bit slower.
And that is a long walk.
Yeah, it's a long walk without a ramp. And not deep enough. I think really he probably had things a little bit too tight for that lift there.
Yeah.
And just not enough to push through on an opener.
So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps it the same, does the wraps a little bit looser, or maybe puts it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. I mean, in our classic lifting, we don't often see if you miss a lift, you tend not to put any extra weight on. But in our equipped lifting, sometimes putting the extra few kilos on can just push you through that point that needs to push through, or get that a little bit extra power that you needed. And here he comes from Ecuador, Alex Shoa, 305. Nice little drop into the bottom, and just got a little bit unsteady at the top there.
Was it before the rack command? Yeah.
So he got the rack command just in the nick of time. Sergey Gashinets from Russia. Yeah, just after the rack command, got a little bit off steady, but got the command just in time. You get to the top and you're standing there, just give me the rack, give me the rack.
It's deadlifts when you stare at the ref.
Please say down. Sergey Gashinets from Russia, 320. The Russian team so far this week have been on fire.
Been a lot of podiumed.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see they're really thinking about the long game. Not getting caught up in records, just chasing after the championship medals. Probably a little bit faster on the way down than he wanted. I don't think I've ever seen anyone run that fast in ramps. Yeah, he came down very quick. Almost looked like he pulled up a fraction before he needed to.
He didn't look too disappointed going off, so maybe he knows what he's done on that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and that's one of the things with equipped lifting too. It's not always about, I just wasn't strong enough to do it. There's a lot of other things at play. Buckland from Norway, 3:27.5.
Looks eager to get to that bar.
Yeah, he just wants to get this one on, get the competition started. And that long walk in ramps to the platform.
The ramp's okay at this comp, though.
I've seen some steep ones. This one looks pretty good.
It's okay.
I think I've fallen down plenty of ramps as well. Very smooth lift.
Very smooth on the way up.
Not deep enough though.
It's wide open at the top at the moment.
Yes. A few missed lifts there, and it just changes the dynamics so much.
So far, both the failed attempts have kept the same weight on.
So not adding any more. So might see some adjustment in their wraps. Jaroslav Olek from Poland, 3:45. Who doesn't love watching this man squat?
Saw him trying to get into the suit at the back.
Yeah, I was talking the other day about just how energy taxing it is getting in and out of the equipment.
Yeah.
And you look at some of their suits, you think, how did you even get into that?
Yeah, you can see he's got his straps taking up quite a lot.
Probably not as steady as he would have liked it to have been for an opener, but he gets the job done.
He's on there.
Doesn't have to be pretty. Yeah, just shifted the line of the bar a little bit. And he managed to pull it back again. So that is all of the first round done. We've had 3 missed lifts. Move straight into the seconds. And Emma just pointed out Buckland's thrown on an extra couple of kilos there. I wonder if the 2.5 is really enough to push down through.
Maybe in my weight. We'll see, though.
It's a bit more of a percentage of yours.
Yeah.
It's only about 1% of me.
Speedy lift. Probably enjoying the home crowd.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, it's one of the great things when you're a home crowd, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just, you haven't had to travel a long way. You're used to everything. You know things. You know everyone around. You know where things are. Just that one less stress to worry about, I think.
I think people often underestimate the tax it is sort of travelling on your body before a competition.
Yeah, it certainly makes a big difference. And, you know, if you have to travel a long way.
Some of the athletes will have sort of a 10, 12-hour time difference, so...
Zakrzat from Kazakhstan, 200 kilograms. So for those listening at home, obviously, squat, we can make the wraps tighter, we can make some adjustment in the wraps. Is there a whole lot of movement or adjustment you can make in your suit between lifts?
A little bit. I mean, with the suit, you can pull the straps in closer together. You can maybe do your belt up tighter. You can adjust where the legs are sitting. Sometimes they ride up too high. Sometimes they're a bit low. So, there is somewhat a little bit.
A few little movements you can make, a few little adjustments.
But most importantly, you have to know what works for you. And it's different for every lifter.
Yi Heng Wu, Chinese Taipei, 205. And of course, in equipped lifting, get yourself an experienced coach.
And trust your coach.
And trust your coach and expect it to take some time to learn how to use equipment. It's not something you can just throw on a suit and some wraps. Boy, he drops that in deep, doesn't he?
Still no question of depth there, I don't think.
I don't think he's ever going to have to worry about a depth red light. So he gets the 3 white lights.
210 is the next weight on the bar. This is for Hubert Konchak of Poland, Jan Batal Kamjab and Andrzej
It's
Czopika
working
to
well
get
for
ready.
him.
Bar
So
is loaded. 210 kilos.
Hubert
Konchak.
Konchak from Poland, 210 kilograms. Got himself a gold medal last year, one of the Polish national events on the bench.
And of course, he's still a junior.
Plenty of years well ahead. Oh, hips popped up a little bit too fast there, but he managed to correct it. But gets the 2 red lights on depth there. Have a look on the replay from the side ref and the center ref. Yeah, we've got the side that was actually okay. You can see his hips popped up there. He managed to lift that chest up again.
Bars loaded. 235 kilos. Jan Batal Kamjab.
Gambata from Mongolia looking for 235. "29 years of age in equipped lifting, that's still pretty young."
Years left.
It moved pretty fast. The referees say it's a good lift.
It's a good lift for Jan Batal at 235 kilos. 242.5 kilos next weight on the bar. Andrzej Czopika, Romania. Tom Chang and Go Suzuki, get ready.
Andrei Flicha from Romania, 242 and a half.
Andrzej Czopika, Romania.
Is that correct? He said he's been competing 35 years.
Well, what he did was he started in his previous life and continued all the way through. He's a time-traveling Romanian.
Interesting.
So we talk about age with powerlifting. I mean, it's one of the greatest sports. Is that there's not one of those cut-off points where you say, "That's it, you're 35, my career's over." I mean, 35, your career's just started.
I know lifters at home that want to have an M6 category. Obviously, that doesn't exist.
Well, keep putting it out there.
Yeah.
Well, if we see Gaston walk past, we'll make the suggestion.
Go Suzuki, Norihiro Otani to get ready.
Tom Chang, Great Britain from Finland, looking for 255.
He's just temporary working over there. He's looking for a 5 kilo PB.
Yeah, not a bad one to take home. Every little bit is an achievement in powerlifting.
Especially on the international platform.
Yeah, if you can add a couple of kilos, you're doing very well. Oh, that
Comes
was
up.
super fast. A little bit unsteady at the top there. Just waiting on the referee's decision.
One more
Just
light.
waiting on the referee's decision. Couldn't quite hear the rack command from here.
Having a bit of issue pressing the button, it seems.
Okay, can we see a show of thumbs, please, ladies and gentlemen? That is 3.
And it's a good lift, 2-1. So he did get one red light there.
For Tom Chang, the next weight on the
Just a
bar is
little bit of an
275
issue with the
kilos.
referee's lights, but that's okay. We will make sure you know everything that we know. It looks like they've got it fixed already. So he got a red card for depth on one side, referee.
Is the bar loaded? The bar
Go
is loaded.
Suzuki.
75 kilos, Go Suzuki.
That is a great name.
There are some great names in this sport. I mean, come on, Ron Strong.
I will
You're
stick
born
to
to
letting
be a
you pronounce
powerlifter.
them.
Go Suzuki with 275.
Seems to have a little bit of a gum shield in this one.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of lifters this week.
Well, I'm one of them.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's got their own way. I mean, particularly if you're a bit of a teeth clencher. Under that much pressure, you can do some damage.
Held it well.
Yeah, he really pushed through that sticking point well there. He didn't get a whole lot of speed out of the bottom. And you can see he's got a red card for depth there. He's got a blue card as well. Yeah, he cut it a little bit fine at the bottom there.
Bar loaded, 300 kilos, Norihiro Otani.
That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, now we've got 3 lifters who missed their openers. Norihiro Otani from Japan, 300, missed his opening lift.
I can't see if those wraps are looser or not.
They don't look any looser. Yeah, no, they certainly don't look any looser. So he's really going to have to accelerate a little bit at the bottom to try and get through that wrap point. It's an interesting technique. Rather than trying to accelerate through it, he tried to pull through it and it hasn't paid off.
He's in a difficult position now.
You put yourself under so much pressure. Missing those first 2 lifts. I mean, we always talk about it, as coaches and athletes, making sure that opening lift is a number that you can hit even on a bad day.
But of course, in Classic, you can open on a really light number. On Equipped, you can't necessarily do that.
No, that's
because
right.
You won't make depth.
You're quite limited. Yeah, there's so many more things that can go wrong in equipped lifting.
But he's kept the weight again the same for the 3rd attempt.
Yeah, interesting. I thought they might have added another 5 to 10. Alex Ochoa from Ecuador now looking for 317.5. So we opened on 305.
PB for him.
Yeah, it's a fairly decent jump.
Struggle to judge the weight jumps in the bigger people.
And it's very difficult in equipped too. I mean, in your classic lifting, it's easy to say, well, that's a big jump. But in equipped lifting, it's such a different game. And that certainly wasn't too big a jump for him. He made it look pretty easy. So we go to 320. Sergey Ashenets from Russia missed his opener. Let's have a look when he walks out. So he's kept the weight the same and see if anything's changed. I don't know if they've made them any looser, but they certainly look like they've shortened the wrap. Let's see if it makes a difference. He was super quick into his descent on his opening lift. Just needs to find the bottom of those wraps. That looks better.
Certainly looks better.
That looked 100% better.
That's it. And he knows.
3 white lights.
Still running.
Yeah, and look, and as you said on his first one, he didn't look concerned.
No.
He clearly knew it was something easy to fix.
And sometimes it can just be things like the rack height. If you carry it out wrong, it's ruins
Yeah,
your
it
whole
could be the
setup.
walkout. Sometimes it's just first lift nerves. It's a million different things. Buckland now from Norway, 330. So he missed his 327.5.
Wow, those wraps look tight.
That's a long walk at that speed.
Yeah.
So he's thrown on an extra 2.5 kilos to go to 330. 2.5 kilos isn't a whole lot in equipped at this weight class. So it's certainly not going to affect the feel on his back too much, but it might be just enough to push him through. That looked a lot cleaner.
And he's in.
3 white lights. He looked a lot more in control in that lift. So we go to 360. Jaroslav Olek.
We go into round 3 after Yaroslav. Mansour and Wu to get ready.
360 kilograms.
Yaroslav Olek, Poland.
Is he going to try and break his own world record today?
I'd like to see it.
Well, look, it wouldn't be unusual. We've seen world records in every single one. It'd be nice to see a 371 on there. Well, he has no problem shifting the weight. He's in and out of the bottom quick enough, but not deep enough. I thought he might go a bit shy on that. And as I expected, the coach heading to the jury panel have a bit of a chat. Have a look at the jury. Actually look like they're having a bit of a look at it. He might get some joy. We'll see. He's certainly making them think about it. We'll keep you up to date on that one. Right now, Al-Mazouki, United Arab Emirates. Well, the Polish coach certainly isn't walking off like he got any joy there.
Doesn't look like he's happy with that one.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Al-Mazouki is not.
And it'll be interesting to see if Oleg actually puts in a different weight and follows his plan. And in equipped lifting, that's not entirely unusual. I mean, raw lifting, yeah, really unusual. But in equipped, not so much.
No.
So,
I mean, on the predicted totals, who's close to him? Is it going to matter if he drops it a bit or?
well, that's right. And there you go. And he's put in the 360. He's kept it the same. So right now, Al-Mazouki is not coming out for his lift. And he'll let the clock run down.
Doesn't look like he put in an attempt either. Probably just timed out and they've gone up the minimum increase.
Yeah, it's gone up the minimum. So, and that's, I mean, sometimes the guys decide to leave the number in there, make sure everyone gets that rest.
Yeah. But
particularly in short flights.
Good size.
So we move straight to Yihang Wu, Chinese Taipei, for 210.
Bar is loaded. 210 kilos.
210 kilos on the bar. Well under his personal best.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
And, you know, 3 years competition experience in equipped.
It's not very long.
You still haven't even mastered the
And
equipment.
that might not be equipped. You may have started classic for a few years.
Yeah, quite often. It takes a very long time to master the equipment in equipped lifting. I mean, a lot of people that are not familiar with equipped lifting tend to think, you know, I'll throw a bench shirt on and add 30 kilos to my bench. Realistically, you'll throw a bench shirt on and decapitate yourself.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
And I mean, I've worn plenty of bench shirts myself, and had plenty of problems and plenty of times.
Well, not coming out, it seems.
Yeah, it looks like he's running the clock down as well. So a few guys maybe saving a bit of energy.
So when you're out back there, you tend to wrap sort of 3 lifters out. So when they're timing out, they're then spending an extra minute in their wraps if they're ready, which can be a little bit off-putting.
Yeah, so it can make it difficult. You know, it's another part of the equipped lifting, particularly on the squat, getting that wrap timing right. I mean, if you're leaving it too late, you're racing out to the platform, trying to get set up in time. You're wrapping too early, you're sitting around in your wraps or standing around in your wraps for too long.
Can be very difficult.
So we moved to Hubert Konjak from Poland, 215. And he is coming out.
So he failed the last one on depth, I believe.
Depth, yeah, so he's added that extra 5 kilos there. Yeah, he didn't appear to have any issue with the weight
You see
at
there, the
all.
Polish coach working very hard.
Yeah, and look, plenty of experience in that Polish coaching team as well, so. And they wouldn't be putting the extra 5 kilos on if it wasn't the right thing to do.
Oh.
And just got himself out of line there.
I find that happens when you do wraps without wraps without a suit.
Just to see his hips push up, forces the bar forward, his chest falls forward. But he got one on the board, so he's still in with a total.
And of course the best team to catch him, spotters.
They have been absolutely outstanding. Very fast, right on the ball, quick at loading, keeping everything running perfectly out there. A good team of spotters makes a difference to your weight, the way you lift as well. I mean, if you trust those spotters.
Yeah. And also they talk to you, they encourage you while you're lifting.
Yeah, so that's a good team. So 220 on the bar. Straka that from Kazakhstan. And just shifting forward a little bit. You might see in the replay, I'm not quite sure if he really sat back into that very well. Yeah, he was getting a little bit offline on the way down. Just never overly steady with it. Andrei Joflica from Romania, 247.5.
So this is a big squat. Interestingly, started 230 and he's jumped quite a high amount, I think.
Yeah, he's added quite a bit on. Still a little bit under his personal best, so not uncharted territory. You can see their intensity and their focus firing up a little bit
Giving
as
the
we
bar the
work through
nod.
the lifts. And give it the taps. Come on, be good to me.
It's lighter if you do that.
Always, yeah. It takes at least 100 grams off. 247.5.
Looks confident.
247.4 with the nod.
Oh.
And just got a little bit too much for him there. He just didn't get any speed from the bottom.
No.
We'll see the replay. It looked like he pulled up a little bit short. Just didn't really get that power out of the bottom. Yeah, there just wasn't any real speed out of the bottom there.
Looking for someone to break the red curse of the third round.
Well, it's. I think, we really hope it gets broken before we get to Otani. Gambatar from Mongolia, 250. And the team from Mongolia getting bigger and bigger, and the lift is getting better and better. So if anyone can break the curse of the red, this man can. It looks pretty good. Depth will be 2 whites is good enough. He was just at that sort of borderline. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, I'm not sure there was much more.
Yeah, it looked a lot better from this side. So for yourself lifting, if you're squatting and everyone's missing lifts, red light, red light, red light, does that affect your motivation, your mood, or how you're feeling?
It can be off-putting, especially, you hear no lift, I'm afraid, no lift, I'm afraid, and you're stood back there and you just constantly hear it. Gets in your mind a little bit.
All right, now, Tom Chang, Great Britain. He has got plenty of room to move, hasn't he?
Certainly no
That
problem
was
with that weight.
265, big personal best, and he's got a lot more room in the future for him.
275, next weight on the bar.
Go Suzuki.
Of Japan. Prepare Otani and Ochoa. Bar is loaded.
275. He missed this on his second.
Japan.
I'm just trying to remember if it was depth.
I can't remember what this one was for.
I don't think you could get those wraps any tighter. When they undo them at the back, you're going to hear it out here.
I was tempted to pull my own off up top of the ramp yesterday.
275. Pops that chest up, gets the head up,
And he stood up.
and he gets it on the board. You could see when he got into trouble there, that just came back to that technique, lifting the chest up, lifting the head up, pushing the hips through,
Let's get behind Nori Hero when he comes out for this.
and gets a little bit extra acceleration.
Ochoa and Gaishinex.
Right now, Naruhiro Atani from Japan, pressure lift, needs this lift, 300 kilos. He's missed his opener, he's missed his second. He needs this to total.
Japanese crowd getting behind him.
You know, and it's a position that no lifter wants to see anyone in.
No, definitely not.
It's one of the great things about powerlifting, that every other lifter he's competing against is probably out there cheering him on, wanting him to get this lift. Depth looks better on
looks
that
better.
one. From here, it looks good. Let's wait and see what the referees say. It is, it's a good lift.
Yes,
Nothing like leaving it to the last lift.
certainly relieved.
And that'll give him a little bit of a confidence boost going into the bench now. Alex Ochoa from Ecuador, 325.
Bar is loaded. 325
He's been
kilos.
looking very good so far.
Ecuador.
You're going to see a great battle today in the overall totals. $325, uncharted territory for him. So that'll add 10 kilos to his personal best. Depth looked good.
Screams it up.
He got a nice little bounce out of the body. He looked confident when he came up there with a bit of a acknowledgement to the crowd.
2 to 1, but that's all you need.
Sergei Gaishinex, Russia. Prepare Bakalund and
Sergei Gashinets from Russia, 335.
Bar loaded. 335 kilos.
You know, it's probably hard watching at home and you're seeing these guys on the screen. It's probably hard to see, but these are 74 kilo lifters. I know on the screen some of them look like 105s. But trust me, from here, they're 74s.
Definitely 74s.
So 335 kilos is monstrous. Gets in nice and deep, gets plenty of speed. And I think that should be a good lift, and it is.
Probably should have been his second attempt.
It looked more like a second than a third, didn't it? He had plenty of speed in it.
Norway. Prepare Yaroslav Olek. After Yaroslav, we will have a 20-minute
So Buckland now from Norway looking for 340.
Looking to take back that silver medal.
And again, hasn't had it all his own way. Missed his opening lift, had the extra couple of kilos on. He doesn't look as steady or comfortable under the
Yeah.
bar as he usually does. If he gets this one on the board, grab that silver medal back again, as you said. He looks more comfortable there than he has in his first 2 lifts.
Wait and see what the refs say.
And not deep enough. Maybe a little bit disappointed with that. I mean, the extra 10 kilos that he could have added to that.
But he's on the
Overall.
board. Bronze medal.
And that's it. He's got the bronze. He's on the board. But right now, Jaroslav Olek from Poland, 360. Now, if you can put this one on the board, it actually makes a really big difference at the end.
Yeah, their predicted totals at the moment are within 2 kilos of each other.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, this changes things. He didn't look like, on his second attempt, certainly didn't seem to have any issue with pushing the weight. And almost expect him to see him add a little bit more. Just needs to sink it in. It's a quick start, which is nice. It's going to be very close again. He's going borderline, not deep enough. Maybe a little bit disappointed with that. I mean, that was an opportunity to really add something to his total there and maybe start making some headway. But we have got one heck of a battle. He still goes away with the gold medal in the squat. Don't go too far away. All this is coming back in 20 minutes time, and we're going to see these guys battle it out on the bench press. Welcome back to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, for the 2019 IPF World Open Powerlifting Championships. We are just about to kick off the bench press here in Dubai, and this is going to be exciting. And the bench press, one of the most technical lifts, not so much lifting wise, but particularly the rules around the bench press. There are so many things you've got to remember when you're on there. You've got so much more to think about other than just lifting. And there's so many different ways a lift can be failed, no matter how strong you're feeling. You know, you've got to have your head on the bench, shoulders on the bench, everything's got to stay in contact. You've got to start with your elbows locked, so you can get a blue card for that. You've got to wait for the start command. Then you've got to actually bring the bar to a full touch to your chest. If you're not making the touch, you get a fail as well. The bar has to continue in an upward motion, so there cannot be any downward movement of the whole bar. You have to finish in the locked elbow position at the top. Then you've got to wait for a rack command as well. And then all the parts of the body have to be in contact with the bench. Your shoulders, your head, your butt, your feet have to be flat on the floor. Your feet can shift a little bit, but they have to remain flat on the floor. So there are so many things that can go wrong on a bench press, and we are 35 seconds away from getting started, and I'm joined again by none other than gold medalist in the deadlift, Emma Goodwin. What a fantastic performance, and it was actually a really nice moment to watch and a great moment to be able to call on that as well.
Oh, thank you.
So you throw on that 192.5, absolutely fantastic, and it was an outstanding lift as well. What did it feel like? I mean, you go out there 192.5. Was it uncharted territory? Have you ever lifted that before?
Well, I've lifted it to my knees raw.
Well, that's not a bad effort then.
I've never had it on the barring kit. I plan to do more, but it was always nice to see how easy it moved. Well, not easy, it wasn't an easy lift, but how comfortable it moved on the day.
And it did look very comfortable as well, so that's absolutely fantastic. Right now, we've got the bench press, the 74 kilo man. We've seen a lot of failed lifts in the squats here, and that's really opened up the door and changed the whole dynamic here. Yi Hang Wu, Chinese Taipei, 105.
Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Yi Hang Wu.
As we spoke earlier, just 3 years competition experience, and it takes a long time to really understand how this equipment works.
45 seconds.
And equipment-wise, learning how to use the equipment, is there one lift that you think is harder than the other to learn how to use the equipment properly?
Without a doubt, I'd say bench, although I don't know if that's because genetically I'm not built for benching. But I think bench is a lot more technical than the others. There's nowhere to hide on a bench press, I don't think.
Yeah, you can't get away with much on the bench.
No.
So we get 3 white lights on that one. Then Hubert Konjak from Poland looking for 120. Just 21 years of age.
120 kilos, Hubert Konjak, Poland.
So still a junior. Qualifying and competing here in the Opens. And that's certainly something that we've seen a lot more of over the last several years, is junior athletes not just competing in the Opens, but junior athletes actually taking world championships as well.
I always get interested to see if they do the junior and the open.
And it's a tough circuit too doing that.
Especially if they're going to try and do some classic lifting as well.
And you lift equipped and classic?
I do.
It's nice to see. And I think we're actually seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think one takes away from the other. If you train the right way, then you can do both quite comfortably, despite the calendar trying to make it difficult.
Yeah, it's a tough calendar, you know, when you're trying to compete both. Shakrazat from Kazakhstan looking for 170. We want to see greens across the board in their opening lifts. And that should be a good opening lift. 3 whites, it's on the board. 175 goes on the bar for Tom Chang.
Opening up on his PB, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough decision, that one, to open on a personal best. And it really, I mean, it does depend on how well training's been going, how long it's been since you actually set that personal best as well. patented SBD belt. And gets the job done by the looks of it. Wasn't the prettiest of lifts.
No, sometimes that happens with your openers. Remember, you're trying to get a good lift on the minimum weight you can probably do that with.
Yeah, and there's such a balance to find between weight and shirt in the bench press as well. Andre Troflica from Romania looking for 190.
We've seen the new Alico bench here. It's the first time I've been on one of these to bench.
Ah, fantastic. Yeah, we've talked about that quite a few times since they introduced it. And how have you found the new bench? It has the new friction pad on the bench as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's still chalk on it, but I didn't notice any slipping at all.
Now, the other thing I've talked about with the new rack is they've narrowed the safety racks. There's a little bit more room between the plates and the safety racks. Did you notice that at all? Did it feel a little bit more comfortable?
I didn't notice that at all. I did notice the pad on the bench felt a bit firmer, and I actually quite enjoyed that.
Oh, good. So you can get a little bit more power transfer.
Yeah.
Jaroslav Olak from Poland looking for a monstrous 200 kilograms. Personal best of 220. Didn't have the greatest time on squats. But the important thing is he put one on the board. It's a fantastic design though, the new Alico bench. They've even thought about the spotters and making things easier for the spotters as well.
It's so easy to put the racks in now.
Making everything, all the adjustments so much easier. Well, he made 200 kilograms look pretty easy. 3 white lights. Ning Hu Lin, Chinese Taipei. And Jaroslav certainly has plenty of experience on the international platform. And he's probably going to need every bit of it today. .205, well away from his personal best of 232.5. And everyone with their different setup. Trying to get those shoulders under as far as he can. Get all the levers lined up. Yeah, moved fairly smoothly all the way through. It wasn't super fast off the chest. He did what he had to do. So Al-Mazuki Mansour from United Arab Emirates looking at 210.
Now, will he come out in a shirt or will he come out in suit? He squatted classic.
Yeah, he squatted with no wraps or suit. Shirted up, ready to go for 210. Hasn't given himself a huge amount of time to get set up. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock. And even though it seems to be plenty of time to set up, if something goes wrong and you get a replacement command.
Yeah.
And we've seen that today
Quite
already.
a few times today, yeah.
So a Russian athlete attempting a world record and got replaced twice and timed out. Well, I was going to say he looked like he lost a lot of tightness at the bottom when he touched, but somehow he managed to recover and get tight again. Probably a better angle from the side, as he just seemed to lose a lot of that tightness as he touched.
Be interesting to see what happens on the next one.
Sergey Gashinets from Russia. $215 kilograms. Looking very focused. And from a coaching perspective, I mean, equipped bench is probably one of my favorites because there's just so many little things you can do.
You haven't coached me. It wouldn't be your favorite then.
Oh, I'll remember that if the opportunity ever comes up. Say, no, thanks. Not interested. I've been warned. Oh, that was a great lift. It moved very fast. It should be whites. It is. 3 white lights.
Does he ever walk off the platform?
I don't think so, actually. Yeah, I mean, he ran off through every squat, so he's a very eager lifter. Alex Sachoa from Ecuador, 220.
Bar is loaded, 220 kilos, Alex Ochoa, Ecuador.
He's got that chest plate pulled down fairly hard for an opening lift.
Explaining to the spotters exactly how he wants the bar to be given to him.
Yeah, I think it's always a good idea to give them some simple instructions. This is how I want the bar.
Which, of course, can be very easy at home, but when there's a language barrier.
You need to be able to keep it as simple as you can. Has to really work it down. Let's see what the referees say. It's the 3 white lights. You can see he really had to work down through the shirt there.
There's some knee sleeves there for bench press.
I'm sure they've got to be helpful.
He can't be cold.
I would hope not in Dubai. Gambatar from Mongolia, 220. So how much did the change of temperature affect you when you arrived in your preparations here?
Well, you see, I'm from, obviously, the UK where it's cold and it's pleasant here. It's not too warm, there's air conditioning everywhere, so actually it's a nice change rather than a bad change. Well.
Yeah, I mean, he really had to work that down the chest. You could see really having to pull it down through that shirt as it stretches across his chest. Possibly just a little bit too tight.
Small adjustment, maybe next time.
And we can see his butt lifting right off the bench as well. And as soon as that happens, all the power transfer
Well, yeah,
goes
quite
away.
often you need to throw your bum up to get back under the bar.
Go Suzuki, 220 kilograms. The current open world record, 246 kilograms.
Opening on a world record.
And we are going to see a shot of that today. Smooth to the chest. I'd like to see an opener. That was a very, very nice lift there. Had the equipment balanced very, very well. Didn't have to work too hard to the chest for an opening lift. Held the line very nicely there. Plenty of speed.
222.5 kilos. Kjell Bakkelund, Norway.
Bakkelund from Norway, 222.5. Certainly didn't have his best day on squats.
No, it's not looking very animated.
Let's see how his bench looks.
Something leg's not quite right there.
Okay, so there's an error with the rack height. Now, if it's an error from the spotters, the clock should restart. If it's an error because you put in the wrong number, then you're stuck with the time as it is. Yeah, he looked a lot more comfortable on the bench today than he did under the squat bar.
No problems there.
He's certainly moving a bit faster and looks a little bit more animated after walking off on that one. Might have feeling a little bit better. So here we are, a world record attempt on an opening lift. 250 kilos. Now this will equal his personal best, so it's not uncharted territory for him. And I'm always a little bit hesitant about opening on a world record.
Yeah. Let's hope those squats didn't take it out of him too much.
And, you know, and that's the thing, if you open on a world record and it goes wrong on the opening lift, you're stuck with it.
Nowhere to go.
So 250 kilograms for a world record. And it's his first attempt. He has good control of it. Very good line. Well, he's practiced that one plenty of times. He gets the 2 white lights, just 1 red there, but that's good enough to get the world record, and he's still got 2 lifts left.
Wonder where he's going to go next.
112.5 kilos is the next weight on the bar as we move into round 2. This is Yiheng Wu of Chinese Taipei, Hubert Konchak and Shak Rizat Zaki Bekov to follow.
So we come back round to the start with Yiheng Wu, Chinese Taipei, 112.5. And he's lifting raw by the look of it.
Yeah.
Remember watching Jen Thompson at the Bench World Champions lift equip raw and win.
Something else, isn't she?
Yeah, quite an amazing athlete. 3 white lights. Yeah, and a great ambassador for the sport as well. Hubert Konchak from Poland, 125.
I wonder if his PB of 170 is in a shirt.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Lifting raw, I think, here.
Forty-five seconds.
We did a 155 equipped last year. And should put the numbers on the board.
Held his back a bit there.
Yeah,
On the way
just
off.
noticed he put his hand on his back. Could be a little bit of cramping.
Of course, the bigger athletes, you know, you can sweat a bit more in the hotter temperatures, which takes it out of you.
And the tightness in that bench, the way you're tightening the entire system, if you're going to get a cramp, that's the one that's going to do it to you. Shakrazat, Kazakhstan, 180.
Very flexible.
He's almost got a hinge in his back. He made short work of that. He made very short work of that. It looked like a raw lifted move.
Yeah, he's walking off
Everything
very
moved.
comfortably. I think he wants more.
Yeah, loaded up, coach.
82.5 kilos for Tom Chang, Great Britain.
Tom Chang from Great Britain, 182.5. Always do love some of the profile pictures. I'm pretty sure that's his surprised look. Oh, you're taking a photo? So 182.5, well above his personal best. Oh, somehow he managed to straighten that back up.
Yeah, got back under that.
It looked like the suit had, the shirt had taken him backwards, and all of a sudden he managed to straighten it up again, which takes a lot to do. And he had a good line on the way down. Wasn't overly comfortable on his touch. And then somehow managed to straighten it back up after it went back. So Andrei Shaflika from Romania.
Feet up on the bench, of course, seems to be a very popular way of setting up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their own little setup. But yeah, I mean, feet up on the bench, giving themselves the chance to try and really drive those shoulders underneath and into the bench. 202.5 is a tough lift.
Did not give up on that one. Oh.
And he gets the two reds. Looks like some downward movement, some butt lift. And a few little things there.
And a red card on a bench.
Yeah, you can see the butt starting to lift there.
207.5 kilos, Jaroslav Olek, Poland.
Jaroslav Olek from Poland, 207.5.
So really he's just looking to keep building that total here.
Yeah, this is the point in benches, and I mean, it's not something, it's not the lift that you're going to try and chase someone down. You're not going to add 20 kilos to your total here. This is the lift you want to take, conservative jumps, get all three on the board. You know, and if you get an extra 10, maybe 12 kilos onto your total, that's fantastic.
That's it. It's not where you start.
Yeah, and if you're missing lifts on the bench, you're sacrificing a lot of weight. And he's having to fight very hard for this. And just can't quite lock it out at the top.
Close.
Just didn't quite get the speed. And we've seen that today with some of the lifters in great positions at the start, get their opening bench, miss everything else. Or in this case, I think they missed the first two and got their third, so didn't add anything to their total, and it cost them in the end. You know, that 10 kilos could have made a big difference. All right, now, Almazuki, Monsieur, UAE, 220.
No.
Bar is now loaded. Bar is loaded, 220 kilos, Almazuki Mansour, United Arab Emirates.
220 kilograms, the first time UAE is in this event.
Is it just the one lifter they have, or I don't know?
You know, I looked at the nominations the other day, and I cannot recall how many more lifters they have.
So I think if you've only got one athlete, you don't need to send a referee.
And it's such a growing sport here. He fought at the end. He has a very interesting technique.
Yeah. Oh.
And unfortunately, his butt lifted up. But he has quite an interesting technique. It almost looks like he's sinking right into his stomach or sinking down.
Butt lifting up on the way down.
And it stayed up.
Foot came up as well a bit there.
Yeah, so as a competitor yourself, butt comes off on one of your lifts. What are the things you can do to fix that between lifts?
Well, I mean, it could be as simple as a foot position that's made your butt come off, but also you've got to think about where you're bringing that bar down and your load point. For me, my bum always comes up when I don't stay under the bar.
So we go Gambit for 220. Missed this on his opener. Got good speed off the chest there. Just doesn't seem to be able to get through that transition point.
Put himself in a difficult position now.
Yeah, and I think part of the fact is he's not getting the transition point is he's lifting that butt up.
Yeah.
So he's not really getting the transfer of power all the way up to the bar.
So his opening weight, this should be comfortable enough for him to pull his feet out a little bit and
Make
not
those
sort
few
of,
adjustments, keep the butt down, transfer of power. So Ming He Lin, Chinese Taipei, 222.5.
fairly sizable jump.
And we just had a look at the Mongolian team and just put in a 230, so they've actually added 10 kilos even though he's missed the first two lifts.
Well, of course, they could be changing shirt or, you know, doing some other adjustment.
And that should be a good lift, and it is. Yeah, it's an interesting decision. I mean, with a lot of the problem being because his butt's coming off the bench, it's not really an extra weight issue to try and push through the touch point. But you're right, I mean, they could be deciding, let's change his shirts, let's do something different.
You do wonder.
Sergei Yashinits from Russia, 222.5. You get a successful 215. Now looking at personal best.
30 seconds.
Really taking his time getting set up there.
Yeah, he looks very calm up there.
I mean, that's one of the things is you want to give yourself enough time so you can set up comfortably and not have to rush it. Plenty of speed off the chest. And his butt is lifting off the bench, I would say. Yellow cards.
This is for Go Suzuki. Bacalund and Ochoa to get ready.
So good control, had great speed off the chest. And then there he is lifting off.
Those lights certainly make it really obvious as well.
They don't let you get away with anything. You know, and this is the thing, when the butt lifts off the bench, and as you know as well, you're going to lose all that power transfer. And it's a bit of a natural instinct to lift up. But if you can keep it down, you're going to get the transfer through. 227.5 for Go Suzuki. Had a good opener at 220.
And again, looking for a PB here.
I mean, if you can walk away from an international event with any PB, you're
If I
doing
can
well.
walk away with a bench PB full stop, I'm doing well.
From any event.
Any event.
25 seconds.
227.5. He's probably letting that clock run down a little bit further than I'd like.
Oh, yeah.
Right, gets it in there. He has got very, very good strength.
And you see, if you look at the chalk line on his chest, he nearly touched at an identical point.
Yeah, you want to be hitting that same point every time. Bacalund 227.5.
Bar is loaded, bar's loaded, 227.5 kilos, Kjell Bacalund of Norway.
31 years of age, 12 years competition experience. He's done a lot in those 12 years. He certainly looked a lot more comfortable after he finished that first bench. His whole demeanour changed.
Yeah.
better and better. Plenty of support in the crowd from the Norwegian team.
Comfortable press.
You got one red light there, but 2 whites, that's all you need.
Lin's second lift was overturned. That is now no lift. So Lin from Chinese Taipei, that is a no lift. Bar
Okay, so Lin's second lift at 222.5 got overturned.
Ecuador.
So it's now a no lift. So he still only has the 205. And right now, Alex Ochoa from Ecuador looking for 230. Just reminding the spotters how he wants to lift off. The SBD belt, the belt that's so comfortable you don't want to take it off.
This is true. And you know, as a lifter that does classic and equipped, it's really changed my life. On the raw lifting, I wear it sort of right near the end of one setting, and then on equipped, it's nearly at the other end.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest things. It's so easy to adjust, isn't it?
Yeah.
Showed some really good strength
Yeah.
in the upper part of that lift to push through. Does he get the white lights? 2 is enough. He gets 1 red light with the yellow card from the head referee, which may have thought the head moved off a little bit. Let's have a look.
260 kilos for Norihiro Otani of Japan. The bar is loaded. If successful, this will extend his...
Really worked for that touch, didn't he?
Yeah, really held him there a long time. And just as he lifted the bar, you could see the head shift a little bit. Whether it came off or not was hard to say, but he got the 2 whites.
So here we go, looking to add 10 kilos onto that world record.
260 kilograms. Norihiro Otani opened on a world record with 250. Now looking at 260, and I got to say, the weight to the 250 moved.
Yeah.
I sort of have a feeling 260 is going to as well.
You tend to find a bit more weight in an equipped press. Brings it down much better, and then it goes up better.
You can sort of make it a little bit more use, some more adjustments. 260 kilos. Looking for a world record that's going to stand for a long time. Got a good quick start command, which is always very good.
Good line. Oh.
Looks like he touched just a little higher his chest on that one than he did on his opener. He had plenty of speed off the chest, and I really think that was just the bar half on that one.
I think we'll see him come back and get that on the third.
Yeah. It seems more like it was the bar path. Wasn't an issue that it's too heavy. So we come around to the start for 115 with Yi Heng Wu.
Bar is loaded. 115 kilos. Yi Heng Wu, Chinese.
115. He lifted raw in his first 2 lifts.
Yeah.
And is he coming out?
Not sure if he's
Here he
coming
comes. No, I can saw a shadow, but no. He might have decided not to take his third. I think with 23 seconds left, if he is coming out, he's probably left it a little too late.
Have a little sprint.
Thankfully, it's not a squat in wraps. There's no sprinting then. There's a short sprint followed by a short fall. It looks like he's going to time that down. And of course, none of this possible without our great sponsors, Alico, continually raise the bar. We talk about them all the time, but we talk about them because they're fantastic and they do so much for the sport. They equip all these competitions. Athlift, who have put this beautiful competition together. And of course, SBD, the greatest equipment on the planet. I mean, I got my SBD belt and I didn't take it off for 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, I slept in it. My wife was not impressed.
You know, my belt still smells brand new.
Brand new. It's got the new car smell.
Yep, new car smell.
So Uplift have put on this great competition here. I mean, when the venue's like this, platforms looking the way it is, everything's the way it is, does that change your performance?
Yeah, I mean, it's a real driving factor for me. Competing on this fantastic stage is, you know, I'm lucky to do it. But equally, you've got to think the athletes, This is the highlight of their year. They've built up to this competition. You know, our national championship is in January, so I've been thinking about this for nearly a year now.
Yeah, so building up to the absolute pinnacle.
Doesn't get better.
It can't. Well, we keep saying that, and every event gets better. Hubert Konjak, 130. I say that at the end of every session. It just can't get any better. Then every session's better.
And it does.
So no lift, unfortunately. Tom Chang for his third lift, 187.5. That's a pretty solid personal best if he can pull this one off.
It is. I think he only started lifting kit sort of January or not soon before, so you'll probably see some good improvements from him fairly soon.
Yeah, so we'll see some really solid gains over the next 12 months to 18 months. We're going to see a lot from him on the bench in the future.
Yeah.
He is handling that very, very well.
Even a little smile there. Seems happy.
That was his happy face?
Yeah.
Well, his profile picture has his surprised face. So. Shahrazad from Kazakhstan, 190.
There are a lot of juniors here.
It's one of the most fantastic things about this sport, isn't it? The juniors, opens, masters, all competing against each other competitively.
Yeah.
I mean, how many masters athletes do we see as world champions? How many junior athletes are taking world championship events now?
Was that a third lift?
Well, it moved really, really well.
It did.
It looks like he's lifted his butt off the bench, and we're not going to get the benefit of replay on that one. Yes, we are. Yeah. It was never really in a great position right from the start. Andrei Choplika from Romania, 202.5. Feet up on the bench again. Now I have to apologise because I cannot remember your setup on bench. Are you a feet on bench person to set up?
Feet down.
Feet down. I'm just not that flexible to get my feet on the bench.
Well, I'm not that flexible either.
Well, I got to say, he did a good job getting that one moving because it really sort of dropped onto his chest, but unfortunately he's lifted his butt up, which is really unfortunate.
Sometimes you know you've done that, but you kind of think, I'm going to press it anyway because I can.
It might be my day. Sometimes you get away with little things
Yeah,
here
you
and
do.
there,
You win
and
some,
other
you lose
times you
some.
don't. Jaroslav Olek from Poland, 207.5, missed it on his second. And a couple of missed lifts here could be an absolute game changer.
Mm. Can he finish it?
I just don't think he's going to lock it out. He just can't quite lock it. And he's going to get the head ref, I thought, might have picked it up, but the side ref picked it up, and the head ref picked up his head coming off the bench as well. And is that the game changer right there? Sergei Kashinets from Russia, 222.5. I'm sure there are plenty of people back home in Russia watching this. It's only an hour's time difference.
Really, an hour?
So it's 5:45 p.m. in Russia, in Moscow time.
Of course, same time in Belarus.
40 seconds.
And a very different temperature. 222.5 for Sergei. Missed it on his second. Just needs to keep that butt down on the bench. Get the power transfer through the legs all the way up to the bar. It looks better going down to the chest. Oh, can he lock it before it goes back? I don't think he did.
Don't think so.
Unfortunately not.
Agonizingly close there.
Oh, it moves so well off his chest too. Everything looks so much better with that lift. He just couldn't quite get those triceps to lock. So 225 for Al-Mazuki Mansour from UAE. Interesting because he missed his 220 and now they've thrown that 5 kilos on. Have they decided to try and push down through that shirt a little bit better? Maybe got to stretch across the chest a bit more.
Yeah, sometimes pulling the shirt down at the chest gives you a bit more.
Yeah, it's such a fine balance.
I think, well, I mean, making assumptions here, looks like a fairly new lifter to kit.
Yeah, and it's their first appearance here at this competition, so. No, he knew that when it got down to the bottom there that it wasn't coming back up. And, that's a little bit to do with the way his technique works as well. Each other lift sort of really looks like it flattens him out a little bit.
So far, Tom, only man on green.
He has done well, isn't he? It's not a bad effort to go 3 from 3 on a quick bench.
Yeah.
It's not something we see every day. Ming He Lin, Chinese Taipei, 227.5.
So his second lift was overturned.
That's right. It was originally a good lift, got overturned to a red no lift. And now looking at 227.5. So I mean that to me looks like he's just sticking to the plan. And I imagine the 227.5 was probably his planned third lift. And they've decided that, you know what, if it was so close that it went to a jury overturn, we'll stick to the plan. He got good speed from the chest, but just seemed to slow down very quickly.
Yeah, I've had it happen before where it comes off the chest faster than I expect, and then of course that throws you totally off the line.
I mean, one of the things I talk to athletes about when I'm coaching a quick bench is that you've got to chase it. And if you're letting it get away from you, all of a sudden it's all you. And this is the interesting one we've been waiting for. Ganbata from Mongolia missed the opening 220, missed the second 220, now going for 230. He's finished off the 220. He's walked back over the coach. Coach, I'm just not comfortable at 220. I'm uncomfortable. Put the 230 on. Well, I thought for a second it was going to work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, that's such a disappointing way to finish the bench. You've done all that work in the squats. Nobody wants to see any athlete miss all 3 lifts. And hopefully he'll shake that off and come back out and show what he can do in the deadlift.
Of course, that could have got him a medal, so maybe that was why he took that
Yeah,
jump.
quite possibly, an all or nothing move. Go Suzuki.
I think I'd rather a total.
Yeah, the all or nothing moves are sometimes a very big call. 230 on the bar. It's only 2.5 kilos on his second.
And again, maybe a safe bet in his eyes to try and get.
Yeah, just that really conservative 2.5 kilos. Give myself a chance at a medal. Only takes 1 miss and you've got a medal. And I tell you, 2.5 kilos might be a small jump in equipped lifting, but it was his limit. Any more than 2.5 kilos, I don't think it would have been a good lift.
Certainly worked hard for that one.
and he puts himself in a position now, if there's a missed lift, slides himself into a medal. Bakkeland from Norway, and the Norwegian crowd giving him plenty of support. 2:32.5. No, he's been heavier than this before, so it's not uncharted territory. We always talk about competitions not being linear.
Certainly comfortable.
Well, he just seems to be getting better and better as it went on there. So he's going to roll into the deadlift with a good boost of confidence. Alex Ochoa, 235.
235 kilos, Alex Ochoa, Ecuador.
So needs to get this to get the silver medal.
Yeah, put himself back up there.
So even though he's already got a 230, he's a fraction heavier than Suzuki. So this will move him from 4th to silver. And he's looked good so far. His opener and his second lift look good. Oh, getting a little bit out of balance there. And I think that might have been some bar dip in that one.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see. Yeah, 3 red lights. And I think we couldn't see from this angle, but I have a feeling his foot came off the ground. You can see the foot shifting around quite a bit. And I'm not sure, it just seemed like it came off the ground.
That's the other one. And that one. Of course, it is allowed to move, just
Yeah,
not
it can
come
move
off
as long as it
entirely.
doesn't come off the ground. There was all sorts of things going wrong for him though. So he'll
Put more
have,
weight on, it gets heavier.
I know, it's just incredible. Norihiro Otani, second attempt at 260, already has the world record, already has the gold medal in the bench wrapped up. No one was going to take that away right from the start. Now he has a shot at 260 to put on a world record that will probably stand for quite some time.
Holding him at the top there.
Getting a very long hold, and he's getting a replacement command.
15 seconds remain, 15
Oh.
seconds.
Nobody wants a timeout.
Oh, look, it's nothing worse than watching someone time out on a world record attempt. And they're not happy with something. They've held him. And again, he's timed out. That is extremely disappointing.
Yeah, I couldn't see what that was from here.
Yeah, it was a bit hard to tell what they were actually trying to get him to do. Very disappointing way to finish. He gets the gold medal and the world record though, so he can go home with his head held high. It was Bakkeland with the silver medal there. And Suzuki, with that 230, snuck in with a bronze medal in the bench press. Probably didn't expect that walking into this competition.
No, so it's not where you start.
That's where you finish. You've got to keep chipping away. Well, don't go anywhere, because we are going to be back in 20 minutes' time. And this is where the competition really gets exciting on the deadlift platform. Welcome back to the 2019 IPF World Open Powerlifting Championships here in sunny Dubai, and we are just about to kick off the final lifting session for this afternoon with, of course, the deadlift. The deadlift platform where egos are destroyed and champions are made, and probably the least technical lift rule-wise for an athlete perspective. I mean, you don't have to wait for a start command, so that minute to be ready, you can utilize that really well. You don't need to wait for your referee to tell you when to start. So a few less things that can go wrong, but there's still a few ways you can fail. The bar has to move up the entire way. It can come to a stop, but it has to continue. It cannot drop back down. You can't support the bar on your thighs, so that'll give you a blue card. When you get to that top, the shoulders have to be in a locked back position. The knees and the hips have to be locked as well, and you then have to wait for that down command. So if you beat that down command, that'll give you a yellow card as well. So probably a little less technical than some of the other lifts and a few less things that can go wrong. But it's also a high pressure lift as well. You've done all that work so far leading up to the deadlift. Fatigue has been setting in. You've been working all day. Emma, you've been through it. You come out for those deadlifts. How's the body feeling? I mean, how's the energy conservation working?
Well, you know, quite often you come into deadlift and you have a bit of an adrenaline dump out there. But once you get started, I think you're okay. I mean, fatigue does take its toll. If you've been training with all the lifts, you should be okay, but some people don't.
Yeah, and I think, if you look at equipped and classic lifting, fatigue is a lot tougher in equipped as well. You've got to get in and out of all your equipment all the time, and that can take its toll. And you mentioned earlier, Min Hee Lin has put in a 75 kilo and suggested maybe there's an injury. I mean, I think it's 75 kilos. Let's have a look and just see how he's looking. He also put in a very light squat as well and only did one.
Yeah, only took the one
Which
squat.
suggests maybe it's a little bit of a back injury or some back strain.
Yeah, and that deadlift was all on the one leg, it looks like.
Yeah, it looked very tender. Yeah, he looks very tender walking off there.
So it has to be above body weight or just a concerted effort?
Yeah, it's just a concerted effort. Yeah, he looked very tender when he let go of that bar as well.
So I should imagine we won't see any more from him.
Yeah, I don't think so. So right now we look at 150 on the bar, and Amazuki Mansour, UAE.
Bar is loaded, 150 kilos,
Great to see United Arab Emirates competing here, and as you said, Lynn has scratched those last two lifts. Nice easy opening lift. And he's lifting raw, is he? Ganbatar from Mongolia, 170. And there's some big numbers on the board. Possibility we might see a couple of world record attempts in this session as well.
170 kilos, Ganbatar Kamjar, Mongolia.
Certainly no problem with the weight. I mean, it's a raw lift. He's lifted a quick before. There's a little bit of a stumble in the middle there.
Yeah, of course, he can't make a total now anyway, but he can still have fun and compete in the deadlifts.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time. I mean, competition experience is competition experience. I mean, so if you've missed all your squats, getting out there doing the rest of the lifts is still experience, and every bit helps and every bit counts. Andrei Shaflika from Romania, 205. And handled that fairly well. So when it comes to equipped deadlifting, just how much can you really get out of it, the deadlift suit?
Well, it took me a long time to get anything out of a deadlift suit, and then when I finally did, I got a lot off the floor, but then couldn't finish it. So I think it's quite technical in the sense of, how you pick it up. I'm just getting to the point now where I probably get about 10 kilos. Some people don't get much.
So there's a world record on the horizon?
There might be.
of Poland.
Looking forward to that. 225 for Hubert Konchak from Poland.
So he's wearing a deadlift suit for this. He's been raw benching and just squatting singlet with wraps.
Yeah, and now putting on the equipment. Looks like a good opening lift.
He looks happy with that.
Yeah, walked off with a little bit more spring in his step. Tom Chang, Great Britain, 235. He's having a pretty good day.
He is. So I spoke to him briefly backstage in the break, and this is in fact his third full power kit.
Third.
Yeah.
Oh, he has got a lot of good years ahead then. We've seen a few athletes come out, hit their opening lift and scratch their second and third. Oh, doesn't look like he's locked that one through. Looked like the shoulders were forward. The hips didn't look locked from this angle. And 2 red lights. No lift.
No lift, I'm afraid. So next weight on the bar is 250 kilos for Norihiro Otani, Ochoa and Suzuki.
I mean, the opening deadlift, it's so important to get it right. You've done all this work. You've done all your squats to get some numbers on the board. You've done all the bench to get some numbers on the board. You need to get that opening deadlift on there to solidify that total. Then you can have a bit of a play around. Right now, Norihiro Otani from Japan, 250. Deadlifting what he benched. Ooh, stumbled at the top there. And just a little bit lightheaded. And it's a no lift. You could see as he got to the top there.
I think he knew on that one as well.
Yeah, just lost his balance a little bit. Tipped it forward. Now, he needs to register a total or he doesn't get his world record.
This is true.
So
in that position, if you got yourself a world record on bench, do you drop your opening dead to make sure you're 100% confident that it's an easy opening lift so you can guarantee that world record?
Yeah, I mean, deadlift is probably the only one in equipment you can get away with an easy opening lift.
Alex Ochoa from Ecuador, 265. And gets the 3 white lights.
265 kilos. Next weight on the bar is 275.
So we go to 275. One of your favourite lifters, Go Suzuki.
Yeah.
So well under his personal best.
275 kilos, Go Suzuki, Japan.
Got that deadlift swag walking onto the platform.
And you look how tight that deadlift suit is. I wonder how he even got in that.
Pick and shake.
And
They're still light for
and
the
even
men.
more, how are you going to get out of it? So, able to take your time getting ready. Don't have to wait for a start command. So you can really use that minute in any way you want. And that should be a good lift. It is. 3 white lights. So it goes to 290. Jaroslav Olek from Poland. Needs to put this one on the board so we can start then looking at the numbers and what he's going to need to do. "45 years of age and still at the very top in the opens."
Solid on the floor.
Thank you very much. I'll take that one. Just Just waiting for the referee's lights to come up.
We've got 2 in, just waiting for 1. I can see thumbs, 3
And
white lights.
it is a good
And
lift,
that is a
3
good
white
lift
lights.
for Yaroslav at 290, 295 next
So
weight
now
on
we
the
look
bar.
at 295 for Yi Heng Wu, Chinese Taipei.
Zaki Bekov and Bakaluk to get ready. Bar is
And do you think
loaded.
having 3
295 kilos,
lifters
Yi Heng
scratching
Wu,
their last
Chinese
lifts here,
Taipei.
so it's going to shorten down that turnaround a little bit. Having been used to that turnaround time throughout the squat and the bench, is that going to affect their planning at all?
No, it shouldn't do. This is still a fairly full flight for them. And this is deadlift. It's not as if they've got to put their knee wraps on or anything.
Oh no, sorry, that was the lights.
2.
It can do, you're right though, but this is still a decent
Yeah, I think with
size.
this number of people, it's not going to be too much of a problem.
Nearly got his toes there on the way down.
I did 3 white lights and a good lift.
You want to move them out of the way pretty fast.
300 kilos next weight on the bar. Shakrizat
Especially in
Zaki
slippers.
Bekov, Kazakhstan. Bar is loaded, 300 kilos. Zaki Bekov, Kazakhstan. Bakaluk.
Zakrazat from Kazakhstan, 300 kilograms. So, 40 seconds left on the clock. And can't see any sign of him at the ramp just yet.
35 seconds.
But it is deadlift, so you don't have to wait for a start command. I mean, you can come out in any time in that 1 minute. But we're down to 25 seconds.
Not sure what's happened there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, is this a case of, we're just seeing a coach approaching the technical controller there?
10 seconds.
That's a Norwegian coach, it looks
Norwegian, so doesn't look like he's coming out, unfortunately. I'm not sure why that's happened, whether it's, it's actually, I mean, we do occasionally see lifters opt not to take a second lift to try and catch some energy up as well, but unusual not to take the first one. So we'll move straight to Vakalen from Norway now, 310 kilograms on the bar. And just giving the bar a clean there. The Norwegian coach came up to the technical controller requesting the bar to be cleaned.
I like to have the bar cleaned on all of my attempts.
Yeah, look, it can make a big difference. I mean, they build up with chalk pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't speak for the 74 kilo male category, but where I hold my hands on the bar is half on the smooth part. So the talcum powder really makes an issue for me there.
Yeah, it can make an enormous difference. If you get your hand wrapped around some talcum powder, I mean, that's certainly going to reduce the friction by a lot. Right now, 310 kilograms for Buckland from Norway. He's got plenty of support in the crowd. Needs to get this one on the board.
Should be good.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look himself under his squat,
No.
but as the bench has gone on, as this has gone on, he's starting to look more like his usual self. So 310 on the bar now, Sergey Gashinets from Russia. Getting himself fired up a little bit there. Doesn't seem to have any problem with that. Got a nice quick down command as well for not wasting energy standing there waiting for that down.
And now the fun begins.
Now we can start seeing what these guys are going to do. And of course, don't forget, if you're new to powerlifting, they have 2 changes for their final deadlift. So we'll often see lots of shuffling around. Emma made good use of that change card on yours.
I wish I didn't have to.
Got a gold medal, smart decision.
Lifting out of the B group made things very difficult for my attempt selection.
And you still got yourself onto the podium with a gold medal. 2:22.5 for Andrei Flicker from Romania. The time-traveling Romanian with 29 years of age and 35 years experience. And that should be a good lift. It looked all good from here. 3 white lights. Looked like he was grabbing at his back a little bit there.
Next weight on the bar is 235 kilos, 235 for Tom Chang, Great Britain.
And it could just be a little bit of cramping getting towards the end of the day.
So Tom needs this.
It needs to get this one on the board, get that total solidified. He's done so much good work so far. 235 for Tom Chang from Great Britain. Double overhand hook grip.
Yeah, hook grip.
It's a nice little bit of a biomechanical advantage, especially on sumo. And he's just struggling to get that moving.
Yeah, maybe he's ripped his hand or something.
Just doesn't look comfortable with it there.
I'd be inclined to maybe switch back to reverse.
Yeah, just take the pressure off a little bit. I mean, hook grip is brutal on the thumbs.
245 kilos, Hubert Konchak.
So we look at 245 now for Hubert Konjak from Poland. You know, Tom Chang has had such a good day so far.
Yeah.
And the last thing anyone wants to see is to miss out on that total.
He was 6 for 6 going into deadlift, so hopefully he can sort something out and come back and get one on the board.
I think you'll find the drive in the last one there. 245.
Held that for longer than he needed to.
Yeah, you see occasionally some of the guys get to the top, they get the down command and like to hold it and give a bit of a nod, but you're using a lot of energy doing that. Norihiro Atani from Japan, 250 kilograms. He missed this on his opener. Just got a little bit out of balance and moved to the top fairly quickly and comfortably, but just sort of lost his balance at the top, and that is a bit of a sacrifice or a bit of a catch-22 with sumo. You widen that base of support and lose that balance at the top. That's looked better. He looked a lot calmer and more controlled on that lift.
He's in there, now he can claim his world record.
That's it. It's on the board now. It's in the books. Alex Ochoa from Ecuador, 275. Yeah, all that hard work getting a world record. It's in the books now.
Be heartbreaking, wouldn't it?
Bars loaded, 275.
Go home without
look,
it.
I just can't imagine a worse way to finish a competition. I mean, missing your 3 lifts is bad enough, but missing your 3 lifts and losing a world record because of it would be absolutely crushing. 275 for Alex Ochoa. I think he weighed in the heaviest today at 73.8. Well, it wasn't the cleanest of lifts, but it got the job done. And gets the white lights, and that's all you need to do.
290 kilos, Go Suzuki from Japan.
Doesn't have to be a pretty lift to be a good lift.
No, it doesn't. Although you don't want to take too much out of yourself on your second. Hopefully you've still got something left for the third.
Go Suzuki. 290 kilograms.
Still looks very composed walking up to the bar. So as a sumo lifter myself, I often think it's about being calm off the floor.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I coach with athletes for sumo is it's not something you can rush. You know, it's not a conventional deadlift. It's not going to come flying off the floor at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You've just got to be a little bit more patient. He's a very calm, composed lifter, isn't he?
Yes.
So he gets that one on the board.
Little fist pump from his coach before he walked off.
It's always nice when your coach is excited about it
Yeah.
as well. Jaroslav Olek, 305.
Bar is loaded. 305 kilos, Yaroslav Olek, Poland.
He solidified his total. This lift is an important one. Otherwise, he's going to open the door. As I imagine Alex Ochoa is sitting there watching him just to see what happens. See if the door opens at all.
I think that was fairly comfortable.
He is not going to let that door swing open at all.
I'd go as far as saying he was shocked at that.
He did look a little surprised about how fast it moved, didn't he?
Chinese Taipei, Gaishinets and Bakalund, get ready.
So 3:15 for Yi Heng Wu from Chinese Taipei.
Just noted his total, his PB is 3:14, so that must be a record of some form.
Yeah, so he has that national. Actually, he might have the previous world record.
Oh.
It's quite interesting because he did 290 raw this year.
Oh.
And 3:15 certainly wasn't a problem.
Looks good. See what we see from him on the third.
Chinese Taipei, 320 next weight on the bar. Sergei Gaishinets, Bakalund and Choflika to get ready. Bar is loaded.
Sergei Gaishinets from Russia. 320. Getting fired up. I do love watching the intensity increase as they come out for the deadlifts. They've tried to conserve energy throughout their other lifts. When it comes to the deadlifts, it's a free-for-all. You can use as much intensity as you want. You don't need to conserve anything now.
They've been waiting for this for maybe 4 or 5 hours. Oh.
Just looks like they turned the gravity up a little bit there. Just didn't want to shift at all. It almost looked like he sort of mistimed his pull.
Yeah.
Sort of went for that sort of second pull
So
at
that's
it.
interesting for the total battle.
Yeah, it's certainly going to change a few things now. I mean, he was sitting in quite a threatening position. Bakeland from Norway now, 322.5. And this lift will pretty much close the door reasonably well on particularly Gaishinets, who was sort of threatening in behind now. Now Gaishinets obviously going to have to work on protecting that silver as well. Buckland has to put this one on there first. Are we sure that wasn't an opening lift?
Yeah, I'd say he knows he's got that one.
He just seems to be getting better throughout the day.
That concludes round 2. We are into round 3. First weight on the bar.
So move into the third round now and keeping a close eye on Buckland's third attempt. I mean, he's put himself in a good position there with Gaishinets missing his second and Buckland getting his second. You know, he's stretched that gap out a little bit to a position now. He has an opportunity, if he wants to, particularly take an attempt at a world record without risking anything.
He's just put it in.
Yeah, so he's put in a nice big placeholder there, making sure he gets the last lift. So 227.5 goes on the bar for Andrei Triflica from Romania. Yeah, so Buckland's put in a nice little placeholder there, making sure he gets to pull last, and he can make it a decision whether he wants to pull for that world record. And if he's safe and not risking anything, I think there's a good chance he will. And we're on the third lift now, so the bar gets cleaned after every single lift. You'd be happy with that?
I would be. I always have it asked for anyway.
Bar is loaded.
And
227.5 kilos. Anthony Chiopnica.
227.5.
Chang and Otani, get ready.
So put him at a 660 total. But unfortunately, it just looks a little too heavy. And really seemed to roll that one up the hips there.
Unfortunately, no lift for Andre. I've seen a yellow and a blue. I suspect that may have been soft knees, but that is no lift.
Yeah, so the blue card there for supporting on the hips.
On the bar. This is the Tom Chang. He's in Great Britain. He needs this one
And
to
the
stay in
yellow card
competition.
there for
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care where you're from, I
knees
don't
and
care
hips.
who you
But
are.
right now, Tom Chang, 235. He needs this lift.
He looks fired up.
This will give him a 687 total, a personal best. He has had a fantastic day on squat, great day on bench. Just needs to put this one on, and you're right, you've called it. He's turned the mixed grip.
Come on, Tom. Come
and
on,
it
Tom.
made a huge difference, didn't it? Has he got the lift? He has,
Yes.
and he gets it on the board.
That must be so relieving.
What a relief. And you called it. He was using the hook grip. It looked like he was having some problems with his hands. Changed around to the alternating grip, and it looked like a completely different lift.
Exactly. And he must be under immense pressure. And to pull that out, when was the last time he even trained a mixed grip?
What a fantastic result, though. So 264. Naruhiro Atani from Japan. Still looking very composed.
Very relaxed now. He's got his world record.
Yeah, because the pressure's off. The pressure's off now. Oh, I think he's going to struggle to get the white lights on that one. Yeah, two reds. Just didn't look like he was locking out the hips or the knees there.
See, for me, I'd much rather do some lighter open attempts. Get in there.
Hubert Konyak from Poland. 262.5. Quite young junior lifter, 21 years of age. I'm sure there is plenty to see from him in the coming years. And just a little bit too heavy to finish the day on. See, just nothing really left in the tank after the day.
And that's it.
That last lift is always a tough one. Alex Ochoa from Ecuador looking for 280. They'll give him an 835 total. Won't really pull him into the top three there, but it'll hold his fourth position.
Seconds.
And just couldn't quite get it past the knees there. And you can see that he's just absolutely exhausted by the time he gets to the last lift there. Yeah, just couldn't quite get it past the knees. You can see, you know, technique was all over the shop. Go Suzuki, 297 and a half. That'll temporarily roll him up into 5th overall. Give him a nice little personal best on his total as well. And on his deadlift, actually.
Yeah. He's looked fairly comfortable, so.
Yeah, he's just a very calm lifter. His deadlifts have looked all very calm. There's a bit of a look at the clock to see how much time he's got.
30 seconds.
Oh,
He put in plenty of fight, but just couldn't quite get this one today. But he's had a fantastic day so far.
Weight on the bar. Yaroslav Olek.
Yeah, just a little bit too heavy on that one. Just got away from him a little bit. Knee pushed back. Jaroslav Olek, 315.
Bar is loaded.
Interesting choice
yeah.
numbers. I'm surprised he didn't go the 317 and a half.
I would have thought we'd have saw a change and then maybe drop it back down again.
Yeah, so
if he didn't need it.
He's at the 315. That'll give him a 860 total.
He's safe in bronze.
Yeah, he's lighter than Gashinets. So if Gashinets was to miss, he'd move up into the silver position. And it moved well, although 315 looking at that lift.
Got a
I
red
mean,
light on the
a
end.
couple more kilos might have been enough.
Oh, no. Whoa, we have a change.
So now we're seeing a couple of changes go in.
317.5. Please load the bar to 317.5.
So Yiheng Wu, Chinese Taipei, this has changed to 317 and a half. Looking to go after that silver medal in the deadlift.
Bar is loaded.
Or a bronze medal. Trying to get himself up into the medals. It will temporarily put him in the silver, but it will move him up into the bronze medal position without doubt. So 317 and a half. This will put him into the medals. And just lifting what he needs to get into the medals. Only 2.5 kilos in his previous lift.
Oh, looks very comfortable.
Yeah, look, I think that was a really smart decision to drop the 317 and a half. It looked really comfortable for him. Guarantees himself a bronze medal now.
320 kilos next weight on the bar.
Sergey Gashinets from Russia, 320. Missed it on his second. Now, if he misses this, he drops to third overall.
Yeah. On body weight.
Yeah, on body weight. If he gets this, he holds on to the silver medal.
45 seconds.
Nothing like a little bit of pressure on the last lift. But if anyone can do it, it's this man.
Oh.
And just couldn't quite hold it. Considering his second attempt at 320 didn't move off the ground.
Yeah.
So he drops back to the bronze medal overall. So Olek gets in there with the silver. And now Buckland has dropped to the 329 for the world record. He has the world championship in the bag.
So it was a sensible decision
very
putting the
smart
placeholder
move.
in.
He sat there, waited. He's safe in the bag. No one's coming near him. This is a risk-free attempt at a world record.
That's what you want, isn't it?
So you're about to watch the world champion come out and try for a world record as well. The icing on the cake. What a way to finish. Didn't have the best start to the day.
Did not.
But just got to that bench and just got better and better and better. Can we finish on a world record? Plenty of people standing up on their feet wanting to see this win. The Norwegian team, of course. 329. He weighed in at 73.2 kilos. This is huge.
Surely getting an extra few kilos from the Norwegian crowd there.
I think there's definitely a few kilos in there cheering. He's got it moving, just couldn't quite get it past the knee. He got it moving really well there, but
yep.
yeah, and I really think, I mean, it looks like he put that down because if he kept pulling, he's risking injury, and it
Sometimes
probably wasn't going to happen. What a great effort, though. I mean, he had a really tough start today, but managed to put it all together to take in the World Championship. And of course, Oleg with the silver medal gets in there as well. Always fantastic to watch. And Gashinets with the bronze medal. Emma, we cannot thank you enough for joining us. It's been super exciting, and thank you for sharing your experience and your knowledge with all our listeners. Don't go far away. We're going to have the medal ceremony very shortly, and of course, we'll be back here tomorrow morning as well at 10 o'clock with the 83 kilo men.
IWGA President and good friend of powerlifting, and Mr. Gaston Farage, IPF President, for another 4 glorious years. Okay, everyone has their participation medals. So we are ready to present the medals, first of all, for the squat. In bronze medal position, with a 330 kilo squat from Norway, Kjell Bakkelund. Taking the silver medal squat with 335 kilos from Russia, Sergei Gaishinets. And the gold medal on squat with 345 kilos from Poland, Yaroslav Oleg. A Masters one lifter, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, gentlemen. Fantastic work. Thank you, gentlemen. And we now move to the bench press. In bronze medal position with 230 kilos from Japan, Go Suzuki. Silver medal position, 232.5 kilos from Norway, Kjell Bakkelund. And the gold medal on bench press with 250 kilos and a new world record from Japan, Norihiro Otani. Well done, gentlemen. Thank you. We now move to deadlift. In bronze medal position, 315 kilos. From Poland, Yaroslav Oleg. Silver medal position, 317.5 kilos. From Chinese Taipei, Yi Heng Wu. And the gold medal on deadlift with 322.5 kilos from Norway, Kjell Bakkelund. Well done, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And it is now time to announce the overall podium. And this is how close it was between Second and third place in bronze medal position with 860 kilos from Russia, Sergey Kashynets. Silver medal position, also with 860 kilos of body weight from Poland, Yaroslav Oleg. And your new world champion with 885 kilos total from Norway, Kjell Bakko! Well done, gentlemen. Incredible work. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the national anthem of Norway. Well done, gentlemen. You can't deny them that moment of pride at the podium. In just a moment, please join me in giving them another round of applause as they leave the stage. These are the top 3 in the world, and they can do it however they want, but we would urge them to follow Chip. Give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as they follow Chip off the stage. The strongest 74 kilo open lifters in the world.